And we are back. What's up, everyone? Hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. Welcome to another Emanigan leaks video as we cover again one of the best games out of the year, Marvel Rivals, as we have a lot of leaks. Chat XOX_leaks has been blessing us up today for a lot of amazing new items and exclusive peeks to potentially even brand new characters coming out into season 1, or at least towards the end of the season or in upcoming future seasons. So without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump right into the thing. You guys already know drill. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like and the like button down below, smash that subscribe button as well, and remember to turn on notifications as well to be up to date with all the latest news and leaks info for Marvel Rivals. So let's go ahead and jump on into it. As you guys can see on screen, all Marvel Rivals, this comes courtesy from thegamepost.com, talking about how all Marvel Rivals season 1 leaks 17 characters. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. So starting off with the 17 leaks characters, guys, as you guys can see right here on screen, it says all Marvel Rivals season 1 leaks details. The leaks come from Marvel Rivals' game files, which were combed through by data miners after the season 1 update went live. So this is right after a few days ago when the Fantastic Four update went live. We got Reed Richards and also Sue Storm. It continues to say, while the information is exciting, it's worth noting that this is all subject to change. So that's another really good and important point here to keep in mind, guys. Take this all with a grain of salt. Obviously, some of these data mine files, we don't know how much of it is actually being currently worked on or how much of it was intended to be worked on, but then maybe some residual coding got left into the game. Maybe that's what we picked up on with the data miners, and maybe what we're actually seeing is not intended for future updates, but maybe was considered at one point, but not so much anymore, because we don't know how far along into development these are. Recently, Marvel Rivals literally did announce that they every single month and a half, or every 45 or 48 days or something like that, they were going to try to go ahead and release a brand new hero. So it could very well be that a lot of these characters still are intended, and they just kind of have like a backlog of characters coming out right now. And once we get into the character list, we will see that they are picking from the depths of the Marvel Universe alongside a lot of all-star hitters and introduce fans to new heroes along the way, which I think is a really good idea and perfect for the Marvel brand as it is. So let's go ahead and continue right here. It says, below we've rounded up all the leaks to give you a complete picture of what might be in store for Marvel Rivals. So starting off with the leaked characters, some of these we did cover in the last video, which I saw a lot of you guys did enjoy. I just posted a video today earlier about talking about Cyclops and how he would function within Marvel Rivals as well, how his characters would control. I am going to be doing that for other characters as well, but moving on, just letting you guys know some of these characters we already have covered. I'm just going to gloss over that and then read into the other ones. So starting off with the leaked character list right here, we got 17 data mine characters, starting off with Angela. So of course, this character we actually have seen in games such as Marvel Future Fight in the past. I believe she is also an Asgardian character, if I'm not mistaken. Very interesting how they're going to be combining that as a power set. I feel like Angela is going to be, already off the sound of it, Asgardians just kind of have like that Vanguard kind of character vibe going for that. With the exception, of course, being for Loki, which technically was a Frost Giant, not really an Asgardian, but that, you know, I digress. Next character we have coming up, Blade. Guys, so Blade is a super exciting one, and I feel like we all saw this one coming a mile away as well, because Blade is a character that, aside from the massive popularity that he has thanks to Wesley Snipes' movie adaptations, the whole plot of Marvel Rivals right now being with Dracula trying to take over the world right now, or at least New York as it stands, it seems to really fit in perfectly. I mean, before season 1 even released, the story drops that we've been getting so far already situate the entire premise of season 1 as Dracula defeats Blade in the beginning and then starts trying to go ahead and do the takeover before the Fantastic Four kind of come together and put a stop to the plans. So what better way to seek some sort of vengeance for Blade than to have the man come back later on in the season and just wreak absolute havoc in the game modes. I feel like that would be insanely good. As to what kind of character I think Blade would probably be, I'm not too sure. If I had to guess, with a character such as him who is very offensive, I would probably definitely say a duelist or DPS character is most suited for the character type of Blade. Now, Captain Marvel is another one that was leaked up next, and Captain Marvel is definitely one that I can see being an easy Vanguard. And the reason why I say this, even though, you know, physically speaking, she's not that imposing as a character, say like the Hulk or Venom or heck, even Captain America or something like that, but Captain Marvel's cosmic powers already allow for the fact, kind of think of it, I don't want to say that that's what this is, but kind of think of it kind of like the Green Lantern in a way. That might be a horrible comparison, but the fact that she can probably put up like a cosmic shield to kind of protect the team from damage or incoming damage, things like that, I can completely see her being like a strong suit in that regard, to where she can actually like push through into defenses behind enemy lines, and if you got a good healer, she can go ahead and do a lot of damage alongside the duelists that are accompanying her, because obviously Captain Marvel being such a strong and powerful character, the only way to kind of mitigate that while not making her feel so much like Scarlet Witch or Wanda, because their power sets in regards to how much damage and how they can show off that damage is kind of too similar. So I feel like by classing them out differently, maybe Scarlet Witch stays in DPS/duelist and Captain Marvel can go to Vanguard. I feel like that would be the best way to go ahead and integrate both characters while also giving them their own area of expertise. Moving on to the next character we have right here, Deadpool. This is one that we all also knew was going to happen. I mean, let's be honest here. We already knew a lot of these characters were going to happen, but this one in particular is too big for them to let go by the wayside. I mean, for crying out loud, we have Jeff in the game, and Jeff, I also believe, was the pet shark of Gwenpool or something like that. So obviously, we introduced the pools, we introduced, you know, the gateway to Deadpool, the original one himself. So yeah, we did see him coming. Merc with the mouth, I definitely see this guy being more of a support character, and as weird as it is to say that, the only reason why I say that is because he's got that regenerative factor, and we've already got a DPS/duelist character with a regenerative factor in the form of Wolverine. I don't think they're going to do two of those at the same time. It just makes more sense for someone who has a regen factor to go into a support role such as Deadpool. And even though Deadpool is also really good at damaging, like at least in other mediums that we've seen him in, I don't quite see him being too balanced with having that, because then the DPS would be way too overpowered, especially with having a character, even if he does regenerate, but just very slowly over time. I don't think it would do him enough justice. I feel like he would just be a lot more of an effective character if he gets to go ahead and support that role onto other characters as they push into the objective, and Deadpool as a support just makes a lot more sense, especially when you really get to think about how he likes backing people up, or at least, you know, running his mouth and yapping all along. He can't really do that if he's out there slaughtering everyone out in the meantime, but Deadpool as a support, I can totally see that. I can also see the argument for DPS. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Next one after that, we have Emma Frost. Emma Frost is another one that really raises the question, how are they going to go ahead and portray this power? So Emma Frost is a character also from the X-Men. I believe her abilities are also telekinetic in nature, in the sense that she can also do something similar to Professor X or Charles Xavier. She might be able to go ahead and do some mind reading, or at least manipulate your mind or thought process. How they're going to convey that, I feel like if we get Professor X first, the way that they convey his powers, we might be seeing the same thing, but with this time around with Emma Frost. Maybe if they're going to be trying to do it in different ways and format them into different typings for the game, I feel like Professor X would be more of a support character, whereas the Emma Frost could be more of a duelist/DPS, just because of the nature of Professor X wanting to go ahead and help out his students to achieve, like, you know, their potential and things like that. I feel like him leading the charge as a support, or, and this is a huge or, Vanguard, if they decide to use a version of Professor X that is just completely overpowered as heck. Because let's be honest, his powers are insane whenever he lets loose. But Emma Frost can also be a force to be reckoned with, and I definitely do see her being more of a duelist moving forward. So that one would be very exciting to see. We have another character here, HitMonkey. Just based off the name alone, I feel like that one would be a DPS/duelist. I didn't really know much about this character, but I may as well try to go ahead and elaborate on it as much as I possibly can, at least for some of you guys who also, like me, did not know much about this guy. So HitMonkey, a character that was introduced in April 2010 in HitMonkey comic book number 1. This is literally, as it states, this is a Japanese macaque monkey with dual wielding guns. This guy is definitely going to have to be a DPS/duelist. I mean, just look at this dude's face. I'm going to try to post a picture on screen right now for you guys. There's no way this dude isn't going to go out here and try to wreck someone's day, try to wreck a Luna Snow off in the corner, trying to go ahead and dance away her troubles. We don't really know exactly what he's going to be capable of, because I don't really know too much about the character itself, but I can already assure you he's going to be a DPS. So Professor X, which is the next one here on the list, we've already gone ahead and covered that one briefly. I actually just mentioned it, how he would be perfect as a support as well. So seeing that be confirmed here as well, I think it's already perfect as is. Jia Jing, who we also did cover in the last leaks video, being support. I also really do appreciate, and I still do appreciate to this day, how they're really reaching into the depths of the Marvel Universe as well, trying to get some heroes who not many people know about, just to go ahead and bring some more fans their ways. I mean, a lot of the Marvel heroes, let's be honest, I don't know about you guys, but at least me personally, I get a little bit tired seeing the same heroes being represented over and over and over and over and over again. I kind of want to see some new heroes, some new powers, some new takes on different characters, bring them in the mix, and then try to keep things fresh. And I feel like by introducing a lot of D-list heroes, that is definitely going to get the message across. And just like how Luna Snow was, you're going to get a huge fan base who you never know when it's going to blow up. So after Jia Jing, who is also going to be a flying character, I did cover this in my last video, we have Jean freaking Grey. And this is one that a lot of people have really been looking forward to, just for the simple sake that Jean Grey is one of the most powerful X-Men, if not the most powerful X-Men out of every single one of them. So Jean Grey, obviously being a character who at least in strength is very similar to Scarlet Witch, how they're going to be introducing her, I feel like Jean Grey is definitely going to have to be either a DPS or a Vanguard. Again, I hesitate to say that she's going to be a DPS completely, because obviously with her being very similar to Scarlet Witch, I don't see them both sharing the same field. However, if you turn her into a Vanguard and maybe have her ultimate be something more powerful, for example, a Phoenix Rush, where if she turns into the Dark Phoenix, maybe kind of like Hulk, where she unlocks like a separate phase, she just does like double the damage, or maybe the equivalent damage of a DPS, maybe slice her health a little bit, and then that's the sacrifice that she makes to transform into the Dark Phoenix. That way you can kind of have that balance between Vanguard and DPS. That would probably be one of the first and only few characters to actually be able to do that, but I feel like it would unlock a complex amount of skills to be used with a character like Jean Grey, in the same way how Reed Richards, who is a DPS slash duelist character, is also pretty much a Vanguard in some of his abilities, being able to tank even ultimates from, you know, Iron Man or Magneto or things like that. So I definitely do see her being one of those Vanguard characters, but let's continue moving on. We have Pasta Pot Pete, who we also did address in the last video. He's going to go ahead and be a DPS slash damage support character. Colossus, who we also did address being a Vanguard as a tank. That one was also kind of like a no-brainer. Colossus is going to be sharing that role with Hulk, so obviously we're going to be seeing a lot of Wolverines being tossed around in the near future, whether it be from the Hulk or from Colossus. You're going to have at least 2 teammates tossing the guy around. So moving on to the next one, we have MODOK as well. This one is very interesting because the concept, obviously, a lot of these characters I'm just name dropping right now. I'm not really going too in depth into them, but just think about the lore implications of these characters being added, right? So you have a character like MODOK. MODOK being into the Marvel Rivals game universe right now kind of implies also the existence of AIM. And while I do understand that Marvel Rivals already lends itself so well to the whole multiverse coming together, in the sense that you have Doctor Doom and Doctor Doom 2099 kind of like clash all the timelines together, and that's why you have all these characters from different time periods, 2099, present day, the past, you know, things like that coming together. I feel like that implies AIM's role in this whole scenario. So how they're going to build up that storyline, I don't think we're going to be seeing them anytime soon, if I'm being honest, because I feel like right now with Dracula, they kind of have like a unique storyline on their hands, and something that we haven't really been exposed to, at least as a community overall in the Marvel universe. So I feel like as long as they wrap up the Dracula thing very nicely with the bow on top and do all the characters and serve it justice as a storyline, they can move on to something like AIM after that, which we've only seen briefly touched in the entertainment sphere in the games like Marvel's The Avengers that Square Enix did a few years back, but that one kind of did flop along the wayside. So it would be interesting to see NetEase's take on the big bad corporation, and then maybe after that, eventually, because we know what's going to happen, we're going to have a character like Thanos come on in. I literally addressed this a few videos ago, so I feel like if we can go ahead and introduce these characters as they're supposed to be in their seasonal story arcs, whether it takes 1 or 2 seasons to go ahead and cover the whole story, and then move on to the next one and give everyone their own chance to breathe, I feel like characters like MODOK can be done justice, and we can continue to move on. So the next character here we have is the Hood. And from what we can see right here, the Hood, I'm going to try to put his picture up on screen as well. He is a supervillain introduced in the Hood #1, July 2002, in the Marvel Comics. And if we look at his powers right here, he is a character that is a human/demon hybrid with the ability to do mysticism and occult knowledge, criminal mastermind, marksmanship, basic training, and hand-to-hand combat. I feel like this perfectly describes a DPS right here / duelist. Obviously, a character like the Hood, we've seen, even though we have HitMonkey also coming in, this guy also seems to be flashing around their weapons. It looks like the Punisher has a lot of people to compete with this time around, but with a lot of these characters coming in, this guy, I feel like they're going to lean a lot more into this demon side of things, just the whole mysticism part of it. If they can mix in like his weapon, maybe given some sort of elemental aspect to it, like for example, he has like some, if they introduce, for example, my theory, I did talk about it last video, maybe you guys didn't see it, but with Cyclops, they can introduce some elemental damage or residual damage to characters. Say for example, they introduce lingering fire damage. Maybe the Hood would have a bullet that does fire damage. So you shoot someone, boom, they're getting burned up. And maybe they introduce something where it's like, I don't know, a poison damage. Maybe he has like poison bullets, boom. Or maybe he can do something where it's like a full metal jacket. So maybe against a Vanguard, he does more piercing damage to that Vanguard to kind of like take down their shields super fast or things like that. I feel like there's a lot of interesting things that they can do here by combining mysticism with firearms. And with a character like the Hood, it really is an opportunity as any other. And I feel like it would be the perfect way to go ahead and get started, especially if they introduce lingering aspects or damage to characters such as Cyclops, which I did talk about in my last video. So then after this, we have Locust. I also did briefly touch on this one, but then we have Ultron. which is very interesting because Ultron is a very popular villain, being a character that was created in the comics by Hank Pym, the Ant-Man, and in the Marvel Cinematic Universe by Iron Man. I feel like the way that they would touch on this character, obviously he would be pre-existing already. We're not going to see an origin story or anything like that. A lot of these characters in Marvel Rivals already have been existing, and we're just seeing them as they are. So I feel like Ultron is going to be a character where if he comes in, he's going to be very overpowered. I feel like the best way to describe it is maybe if he can build sentry turrets along the map and then maybe kind of like possess them. I don't know a better way to describe this, but kind of like how in Call of Duty, you can go ahead and plant a sentry gun, and then even when you're halfway across the map, you can go ahead and do remote access to that turret and control it remotely. If he could do something like that where he can drop a turret in one part of the map, go to another part of the map, wreak some havoc, he would definitely have to be a Vanguard character as well, with a character as tanky as Ultron. I feel like it lends itself beautifully to him, especially with him being considered one of the most strongest villains of all time in the Marvel Universe. And then you go ahead and have him that access to control that one turret on the other side of the map. He lends itself perfectly for being a area of denial character, so that way he can control a situation and go ahead and have that backup of extra damage, because his main attacks would not be able to do so much damage, seeing as to how he would be in the Vanguard category. It would have to be the turret doing the damage while he does the defending. I feel like that would create a really good balance for a character that we have not previously seen before in the past. And honestly, the possibilities are endless, and who knows, Marvel Rivals has a lot of surprises, and I am ready to be surprised. After this, we have Cyclops. I did go into depth with how I would like for him to be portrayed in the last video that I posted today earlier, but yeah, Cyclops is another character that is going to be coming, and we already knew this one. I feel like with the whole X-Men storyline, they're going to be literally planning up something to do with the Dark Phoenix event, so I don't think that we're going to be seeing these characters anytime soon. Again, I fully expect them to go ahead and wrap up the Dracula storyline first, and then lean into the whole Dark Phoenix story arc, if that is where we're going already right off the bat. But seeing as how we have a lot of X-Men characters in this state of mind, I do think that that's where we might be headed for the next story arc after the Dracula one. And then finally, we have Valkyrie. Obviously, Valkyrie being another character that was a Asgardian. This one is going to be very interesting as well, because maybe if they decide to introduce any more Asgardians, they can also do a Ragnarok storyline. Again, the possibilities are endless. A lot of these characters really do breed their own lore, and it just makes me excited for the future. For a character like Valkyrie, easily see that one being a support character, just because of the fact that Valkyries are supposed to be protecting the royal bloodline. And in this case, that would be like Odin, Thor, Freya, a lot of those kinds of characters. So I can totally see Valkyrie being a support in the same way as the Invisible Woman, where she would be able to defend herself offensively, but is more meant, because she's like a glass cannon, to be in the back lines just defending and healing up all the characters, or at least supposed to be healing up, you know, because we need more support characters out there, so I definitely do think that this would be the right move. But of course, that's going to wrap it up for today. I want to know what you guys think. How do you guys feel about this extended list of characters? We have a lot of things to cover, and I'm going to be covering every single aspect of these leaks. This is just part numero uno. If you guys want me to do a deep dive on these characters, please let me know in the comment section down below which of these characters you guys would like for me to go ahead and give the Cyclops treatment, where I go and jump into how I would like for them to play and the lore implications behind them. If you guys did enjoy this video, please go ahead and drop a like button and a like down below. Make sure to subscribe with notification bell turned on. If you guys dislike it, dislike the video, and let me know in the comment section why. I do read all the feedback, and I do appreciate you guys to the max. Thank you guys so much for everything, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Peace out.